Hi again, I'm back on Seismic Assault Loam, whatever you want to call it. But this time, no Slugger. This time we are in June colors, playing a 3 Soul of Windgrace as another payoff for playing a Life from the Loam and Ren and 6, just having access to huge amount of lands in the hand. Makes Soul of Windgrace a very good engine for this deck, and just another option, another thing we can do with our lands if we don't draw into Seismic Assault. We are playing a typical DRC loam shell I played in the past. DRC is good in this shell because it helps you dig for the loam, fill graveyard with lands, then you can easily bring them back later with Ren, Life on the Loam, whatever. And we are playing Tarmogoyf as another good threat in this deck because we are filling yard very quickly, and the Tarmogoyf is usually growing very large, very quick. Of course, Ragavan and Loams, Rans, some removals, Seismic Assault, and Soul of Ingrace. Other than that, we have one of Squee. Squee is just a graveyard payoff. Since we are digging a lot our graveyard with Life on the Loam, Dredging Life on the Loam, and Dragon Rage Channeler, we have one Squee, which is pretty easy to find with the amount of surveilling we're doing. So um, one of Squee should come up pretty often in a lot of matches. So I think it's pretty good option to play him as a one-off. On the sideboard, we have some artifact enchantment hate, graveyard hate, terminate just good removals against Murktide, land hate, and some additional discard for to help us win, try to win some maybe combo matchups or other unfavored matchups. Okay, other than that, deck's basically working as a typical uh, half part like a typical June deck and typical Seismic Assault Loam deck. So we are going to go through a league I played earlier today. I think this was the first match of this previous league I played. I had played two leagues today, and both of them finished 4-1. I think deck has large amount of very good matchups. I was even able to beat Belcher and beat some other combo decks like Living End. So I think it's pretty doable. And we're just going to go through some of the matches and see the gameplay, comment on them, and see just how deck performs. Okay, keeping weird hand, just creatures, no interaction, but just maybe one bubble can make this hand pretty good. Opponent immediately kills Channeler, which kind of helps us making the Goif bigger. Uh, Opponent goes for counterspell on second Goif. Opponent was on not Murktide, but some other form of black-red control, like some Blue Moon or stuff like that. We don't mind the Blue Moon here because one basic forest helped me cast most of my spells. In this version, instead of one of Squee, I played one of Raven's Crime, which wasn't that good, so I switched to the Squee. Unfortunately, my opponent find this magmatic sinkhole in this match, and they were able to kill both of my Goif and the Soul of Windgrace with it. So I didn't wanna hit in their turn in case they play the spell pierce. So I just killed the Fable token and started attacking with my Spirit token. We were both in the top deck mode. So I got my Ragavan, but opponent has solutions for it. Not great solutions, but solutions. I was in a better position because I had my Ragavan here, and they were just on one card. I definitely wanted to save my lands. My opponent got rid of one Ragavan, but I top decked another one. But my opponent got petty theft for this turn, so I wasn't able to connect again. Still, a borrower isn't able to block the Ragavan, and they need to find another solution. So it's pretty good. Unfortunately, they found a Snapcaster, but fortunately, I played Glyph post combat. Then I attack. My opponent takes it all. I play the Channeler, and that was it. They didn't find solution for it, so that was game one against Blue Moon, a deck that was very popular like a year ago when MH2 first came out and people just started playing Murktide. Unfortunately, no fetches here, so I just play my Wren and plus it. My opponent goes for Snapcaster to try to kill the Wren, but I just ping the Snapcaster, play Endurance to help me to block the Shaman token, Goblin token, help protect Wren. My opponent just finishes off my Endurance, which is fine by me. At last I found the fetch, so I was able to start, my friend was able to start doing something. I played the life just to get the delirium trigger. I do the surveil, put another land into graveyard. They have a counterspell for it. But I found again my Soul of Windgrace. Unfortunately, my opponent has dressed down, but I'm still good. My soul is can do some job here. If nothing, I can gain 3 life. But I think I decided to keep lands in hand in case I draw the seismic. I just started attacking with my channeler. Wanted to put Sokenzan back into hand immediately. And after, when my opponent played the Snapcaster, I decided to kill the Kikijiki so they can do some powerful stuff with Snapcaster Kikijiki. And having Sokenzan plus Vran in this situation, pretty good. My opponent goes subtlety on the Goif, but I still have the Sokenzan plus friend to make a lot more tokens. Unfortunately, I made tokens in my turn, so my opponent was able to kill all of them with explosives. But still, I was in a decent position. They go for the charm. I have the Goif in hand. I have the seismic plus salt, and at this point, when I got the life and loam plus seismic, the game is over. It's like drawing three cards. So that was it. That was game one. Match two. I'll just hide this to make the screen bigger. Okay, so I keep four cards here. Unfortunately, mulligan to four, and this game was pretty fun. My opponent goes for Esper Sentinel. I kill Esper Sentinel, go with Dragaman. Um, find the Cigar Aid, play their Cigar Aid. My opponent goes for Stoneforge Mystic, finds a hammer. I kill Stoneforge, get the Ornithopter from top of their library. They obviously were trying to find the second white mana, didn't have it, so they weren't able to play their Paladin. And I got the hammer off the top of their library, and my opponent spell pierced my Seismic Assault, which was unfortunate. Also, they top decked into the plains. So I had to jump with the Ornithopter, and when I tried to attack for lethal with Ragavan, they had the Blacksmith skill to let their Paladin survive, which means they have lethal next turn with Inkmoth Nexus, so I had to concede. Pretty good game, uh, considering I started with 4 cards, I was pretty close to winning this, but it was too much in the end. Okay, so game 2 starting first. I decide to go for the run immediately, try to um, buy lands back from the graveyard, and then go seismic next turn, and then start controlling them with seismic plus friend plus life from the loam. It's impossible for Hammer Time deck to beat this, and they immediately concede this match. So we go for game 3. On the draw, it's definitely trickier because you can't play seismic until turn 3, and they can do a lot of stuff until turn 3. I immediately I played my bubble. Look at Marshfly at the top of their library, and I think Bolt at the top of my library. So I go for my channeler and then Bolt to double surveil here. Kill that. Really need to kill that Giver of Runes. And I find the Boseiju and put the Blood Moon into graveyard because it was kind of too late. They had a too good hand for me to try to win with the Blood Moon. And their hand was too fast, definitely. So uh, they go for 6/6, and I just play my Goif, and luckily I found this Force of Vigor, which won me the game. I just went Force, let them draw a card, kill Shadow Spear, one token, block second token, just complete the blowout. I go for the attack, they jump. I decide to let them draw another card to be able to kill both of their creatures because they had the Cauldron in their hand and I kept the Terminate on top, which is what I needed to win next turn, and that's it, my opponent conceded. That was match 2 against Hammer Time opponent. Then this is match 4. I was playing first, kept one lander with the Mishra's Bubble and Dragon. It's kind of doable. So my opponent, I think it was the Scam. No, sorry. It was the Grixis. It was the Grixis, so I was able to kill the Channeler, connect with Ragavan, play my Goyf, so pretty good. Pretty good start, one of the best starts really you can have here, so I go for the attack. Unfortunately, my opponent on turn 2 has solution for Ragavan, but Tarmogoyf is still attacking. I cycle my land. Unfortunately, they have the Pyro. Usually, these decks don't play Pyro, Season Pyromancer, but my opponent had it, and I played Life from the Loam, get back the cave, cycle cave. They jump. I had removal for the Ragavan. Unfortunately, hit. I was in okay position, but really in a need for something because these things can escalate pretty quickly. My opponent has removal for Goif and is able to play both Ragavan and Paramancer. They decided not to crack their fetch because they were too worried about their life total. I was able to play Ren plus Ren, get back Sokenzan again to start making these tokens. So Sokenzan was pretty good in a lot of these games. Okay, so I decided my opponent didn't want to fetch here, so they kind of have just four lands. So I was kind of safe from this season Pyromancer triggers again. I did just bring back the Sokenzan, but my opponent had the Channeler and I needed to find solution for it. Or kill my opponent. I go for the Soul of Windgrace. My opponent goes for Dress Down. So I'm able to get land into my hand and then do the ability end of turn to start gaining life with the Soul of Windgrace. And that's it. My opponent untaps and concedes. They didn't have solution for the Windgrace. Okay, so match 2 against the Grixis. On the draw, they discard the Ren. Still had decent hand. Ragavan, Bubble, Heat. No threats. But just trying to it looked like my opponent, my Ragavan conceded, connected, which meant I maybe have a chance this game, although my hand wasn't very good. My opponent goes for the Pyro again, which isn't very good considering I had the Ragavan, but I killed both of their tokens to try to connect Ragavan again and try to find something off the top of their deck. I found Mishra's Bubble to draw me another card, so they go for Totsis. I just bolt in response, put them on low life total, which means every bolt Seismic Assault is just winning me the game. Their shadow was huge, so at this position a lot of cards win me the game, so I did find a bolt, but it didn't want to play it. I just attacked with my Ragavan, hold bolt in case they try to kill my blocker, which they tried, and at response I just bolted. If I did it different, they could have countered the bolt and maybe then try to kill me next turn. Okay, so that was it. That were both games against my Grixis opponent. And playing second with a very good hand, just a channeler bubble turn 1 is very good, good removals. Renan 6 playing against Burn. I got two Mishra's Bubble on turn 1. Um, I decided to keep a card on the top of library, so I bolted the Cisphere and holded the heat, and I got another land from Goblin Guide ability, then killed it. I just went for all basics in this situation, and the Goif is very good in this burn matchup. Also a Soul of Windgrace. I decided to go for the Windgrace immediately, so in case I survive the turn, I definitely win next turn. I attack with the Goif, and my opponent didn't have the last 3 damage, which was pretty weird because they had 2 cards in hand, 3 lands, but no 3 damage, maybe just creatures in hand, something like that. But that was it. Next turn I untap, start gaining life, and then probably win. That was game 1 against Burn. Game 2, Mulligans kept just Forgotten Cave and the Goif. Playing on the draw, so had to get this damage from Guide. I did find the Unholy Heat immediately to get rid of it. I kind of have to kill it. My opponent plays the Dolan, and I just play my Goif and hope to come on top just with these Goifs. So I'm able to cast another Goif and attack with this one. And 2 Goifs is pretty good in this situation, making a lot of damage. I block the Eidolon here. My opponent tries to skewer the Goif, but the Goif grows because there wasn't a sorcery in the graveyard. And my opponent misplayed, and after the misplay, they conceded. That was it. That were both games against Burn. We will just have to watch the defeat in this league. This league before that was also 4-1. Okay, so I kept a pretty good hand. Go for life from the loam, fetches, Boseiju, endurance. But unfortunately, my opponent discarded the Goif. So I hold the bubble for next turn. Don't want to crack it, definitely. Uh, so they can see more of my hand. In this situation, I just uh, I just looked at the top of my library, then decided to shuffle it, and I find the basic. I was also playing against the Junt deck, but regular Junt. And so I think I should be pretty favorable to win this usually because of the Loam and the Seismic Assault grind potential. And then playing all other cards are similarly grindy as my opponents. I had good response for this fable most of the times, but just my draws were pretty awkward. I drew into 2 life from the loam, huge amount of the lands. I decided to immediately kill this Urza Saga here. And Boseiju wasn't doing much because the Chant plays a huge amount of lands with basic land types, so I can't just do Boseiju a lot of times and then try to get uh, Boseiju online. So I just wasn't able to find soul, no seismic, no soul of Windgrace. I just bolted the Ragavan. I had to shock again for 3 to kill the Shadow Spear. My opponent attacks the I give them another land here. And I have the Wren, I have the life from the Loam. I just need to find the Seismic maybe um, maybe Soul to start doing some real powerful stuff, but none of that happened. So it was just one of those games where you can't find anything good, and you just lose to one Goblin Shaman token or whatever. I just fetched all the lands from my deck. I had only a few lands left in the 37, 37 cards, the rest of my deck, so none of that, of course, helped. These two Goblin Shaman tokens were too much for me to deal with, and I succeeded to find another life from the loam, third life from the loam, to have crazy amount of lands in. Just trying to look for the top deck seismic assault, which helps me survive, maybe even win the match in the few turns. I did find the unholy heat, so I survived 1 turn. I survive on 1 life and then find the soul of Windgrace finally. But it was kind of too late. I was able to. I kind of needed the other card, the Assault Loam, to try to win this game. I did find my opponent's Urza Saga and gained a bunch of life, but they just bought me another turn. If I got a Seismic, I'll be able to kill the both Goyf and Shaman token, then untap with the life from the Loam. It will be pretty much game over. So I again find the land. Luckily this time Sokenzan, so I just tried to jump these creatures with Sokenzan and Urza Saga, but my opponent has a kill immediately, and that was the lost game one. Just I kind of felt very unlucky here to not draw into anything for a huge amount of turns. Game two, I started with a decent hand, nothing spectacular, but a Channeler, Bolt, Seismic Assault, Forgotten Cave. If I can get the life and the loam in this situation, I would be pretty good, pretty strong, good positioned. Okay, so I just play another channeler, cycle my cave. I killed the Ragavan, dashed my Ragavan. I've got Vren 6, but unfortunately I wasn't able to play that Vren. If I succeeded to play the Vren, that game would definitely be over. My opponent was stuck on two lands and I killed their Ragavan, but unfortunately they got their Vren, which got them into this game. I just wasn't able to get right cards on right time, so I was just top decking lands this situation while my opponent had two Tarmogoyfs plus the Fable with Vren, so I tried to dash the Ragavan, but they also had a push, so that was it. Okay, that was the loss. I think the loss was pretty unlucky. You can see here a deck list again. I am pretty happy with this list. Deck's performing really well. It's performing great against decks like Hammer Time and decks where Poseidon is good, and also decks that don't play the Rest in Peace. Rest in Peace was always one of the biggest problems for these. Seismic assault strategies that play so many cards dependent on the graveyard, like Tarmogoyf, Channelers, Vrans, Life from the Loams, and everything. But with the Boseiju Vran main, you can kill a lot of that hate, and maybe. If you are playing against a lot of that graveyard hate, you can board in some tier sunders or as some additional hate for the rest in pieces or black lane lines, whatever, that are not just dead in situations where your opponent doesn't have the hate. So, I think deck's working pretty well. Um, I played two 4-1 leagues, as I said, and one league that ended up uh, uh, worse, like 2-3. And but all matchups I lost where I either felt very unlucky or it was just a very unfavorable matchup or a dice roll loss, something like that. But overall, a deck feels very playable, very strong, and I think it can be a very good call in some LGS metagames. Okay, and I think this is another good option to try if you're a fan of the Seismic Assault Loam archetype. I think you will find this very fun to play, and but also very grindy, and just being able to uh, play a decent game against a lot of other grindy decks like other versions of Jaunt, 4-color on control, and similar, and that's it. Okay, goodbye. If you want to support the channel, click subscribe, like button, and that's it for this time.